Hello Capricorn, welcome back to my channel The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I am ready here to do your reading. I've pre-shuffled the cards, Capricorn, this time, trying to make the readings a bit shorter. I hope that I am ready to give you the reading here. When I sat down here to do your reading, I had absolutely no information coming in. Which is kind of strange because all the other readings have... There has been this almost like instant overlap. Then when I've done one reading, then the next information came in. So when I sat down here and wanted to do your reading, it's like there was nothing. But now when I have the cards out, I do actually understand them, like why it is like that. It's almost like there's a choice here for you. I want to suggest you also go and look at the Sagittarius reading that I just did, because it seems like that there's almost like a story that kind of continues through all the zodiacs. And it still wraps up with or has to do with the reading I did last week for Virgo. Virgo has this massive hit, and it seems like it's something that is influencing all of us somehow, in some way. And I see this as, I kind of trace it back in history, all the way back to the beginning of how Earth was created and whatever happened. That some of the reactions to this, for instance, some of the reactions to a massive hit for the Virgo is Virgo has to do something. But then the other zodiacs that come after actually also have to, like, figure out what to do. It's like that hit that Virgo took had an influence on how Libra sees the world, how Scorpio sees the world, how Sagittarius sees the world, and how you and Aquarius and Pisces see the world. And how you navigate, because you now have this awareness, right? In the Sagittarius reading, I talked about Sagittarius being the news reporter, meaning that from the massive hit, there was an instant damage control done by Libra and Scorpio in a yin and a yang way. And then Sagittarius was kind of this, you could say, the one who is, after the first damage control is kind of done by the two other zodiacs. Now Sagittarius is the, and I see Sagittarius as this, like the philosopher. I see them as the narrator, the ones who need maybe to create a new world, right? They need to create a new narrative after something like this. They question things. That's why the philosopher idea of Sagittarius is present, I feel like. There's something about weighing up how to spend your energy and on what. There is a need for maybe including help from something that seems to be maybe in charge. This idea that I am not necessarily in charge of my world alone. There are bigger forces out there, like God or something, right? There are bigger forces in nature that we can control. And because it is like that, maybe religion was born. The idea of worshipping something, worshipping and asking for help from, like, above. That was also a part of the Sagittarius reading, that there is a bigger awareness about from being living a little selfish, you could say egotistical, all around my own survival kind of life. Now I am living a life with the awareness that something bigger actually controls something. And I'm just this tiny little seed on a little planet in the entire cosmos, right? Like this awareness of I'm just going about doing my day to now realizing, oh, actually I'm just a little particle in the wind, right? Something like that. And I talked about also that because Sagittarius is what I call in that reading the news reporter, meaning that the story they are spinning around what happened depends on what's going to happen next. When a massive hit comes in, how do you, as a storyteller, Sagittarius, how does Sagittarius as the storyteller deal with that? What kind of headline, as I said, what kind of headline do they make? I'm not going to reference everything from that reading, of course, but just go and have a look at if what I'm telling you now is going to make sense, right? So normally I talk about an overall and an underlying energy. This is not the case in this reading, because they are kind of going against each other, the cards here. So it's like, but that could also be the reason why I had no message come through. Take it how it resonates here, right? Okay, so depending on the headline, again, reference to Sagittarius, depending on what kind of story you keep alive in your head, Capricorn, from that massive hit, like the damage control, and then the storyline, the news storyline that overshines everything. If a story and a headline is dramatic enough, it will override everything else that you think about yourself or everything you have going in your life. Like a massive hit can change your opinion about yourself or maybe others. A massive hit can make you second guess yourself where you didn't do that before. A massive hit can break your heart where you did trust in love before, but now it's different. You see, so the headline, the spinning tape recorder that you have in your mind that tells you what you can and cannot do, what you are and what you are not, is important in this and for this reading particularly, because I get like two scenarios, like I have two different routes you can take from this, depending on the headline, right? So if you choose a headline that says, after that massive hit, the damage control, and the philosopher who's thinking now, if you have a headline here that says, my light is dimming, I am hit beyond repair, I am broken. You see, if this is the 9 of fire here, is like a massive burden. This is where you look over your shoulder, you are worrying that more trouble will come, that you will be hit again, right? This is where you see your light dim. You see your life force energy is just drained out of you because you're always on guard. You're always on guard. This literally can also talk about that you do this deliberately because you're hiding. You're hiding so you will not be found, right? You're constantly looking over your shoulder here. So dimming your life and being very aware about your resources now becomes a dramatic choice here for you every day to get up and get moving, right? Because once this hit came in and it changed something. I talked a lot about that in the Sagittarius reading, so please go and look it up if this makes sense to you, right? So this is one headline. If you have one headline here that controls your mind, this is where you are rooted in fear, right? You're rooted in fear that this will come again, that this is going to be a disaster, that you don't have what it takes to recover. And if it strikes again, you will die, right? You will not have what it takes to recover. This is where you have lost confidence that you are actually safe, that you are taken care of, that you can sustain yourself, like you are in danger somehow. This is one headline. And then I have another one here. This is the 9 of Earth. So the 9 of Earth is another headline. The 9 of Earth typically, or Pentacles here, 9 of Pentacles, would usually talk about a single life. But normally in tarot we say a happy single life. A life where we know that maybe we are not with, we have an awareness that, or we have chosen not to involve certain things in our life, but we are actually happy like this. Like there's money here. 9 of Pentacles is not a card of being poor. It's a card of being grateful for what I have, being grateful for the things that are around me, being grateful for the money I have or the job I have, maybe if you have money in your bank, being grateful for that. Like she is almost, like holding her hands in prayer here. She holds a little flower as a reminder that there is, you could say, abundance here. Things are available for me. I may not quite know how, or I may not quite know exactly, maybe how to do the things or keep it alive or keep everything up, but I trust that you could say, because she's almost looking like she's praying here, maybe she has literally done what the Sagittarius is proposing. She's trusting in a bigger force. She trusts that God has her back, that she is cared for, kept safe, that she has everything she needs here, that she is that she is safe. Even though there was this massive hit, even though you had to, maybe cover up. She looks a little bit like a nun to me here, but she has a mask on, right? But she looks a little bit like a nun, like she has gone herself into I wouldn't say that she is hiding herself, right? This one is hiding. Like they look over the shoulder, they hide in the bushes. and they dim the light here so that it's almost not seen here. Or you could say the confidence is lost, the trust is lost into almost just bits and pieces that just evaporate in the air here. Where here someone is holding, you would say, a light. She holds a light for what if? What if God exists? What if there is this bigger power? What if I could be safe? What if I believe in God here, if I pray or if I trust, where here we have maybe a lack of trust or a mistrust, distrust, right? That this is where you look over the shoulder. You feel that you are in danger. You feel you are not safe. The massive hit has a major impact on this whole idea that I'm safe in this world, that I can do what I want in this world, that I am capable, that I'm able, that I have abilities in this world, that I can thrive in this world. I talked about that the first zodiac signs, the first half of the zodiacs, maybe have a more enthusiastic, impulsive, yes-goer energy here to life, where the others could hold maybe a bit of a more cautious, like, or literally like really be very aware of what to choose in life. Like the first zodiacs can be more impulsive. They get themselves involved in all kinds of impulsive things. They go by the feeling, the flow, the trust, right? Where the other half of the zodiacs, they may carry some kind of wisdom here on the back of your head, in brain here, reptile brain, right? That let's do some research, right? Or I'm not going to waste my energy on something that potentially is really not good for me, right? We say that the last part of the zodiac signs are wiser, they are older. They know more about life, right? I talked about in the Sagittarius reading that Virgo may represent being in the middle of, or half in or half out of the zodiac. Could represent, if this is an entire life cycle of a human being, then Virgo would present maybe, middle life. What we may call a midlife crisis, right? We may call it, that something comes in when you are maybe around 40, right? That in the first part of your life, you have strength, you have energy, you go and get, and you are more impulsive, you are more driven, there's a lot more energy to use. And then maybe something comes along around this Virgo period where suddenly something hits us. Maybe we get sick, maybe we lose our job, or we are in a marriage that suddenly ends, you get a divorce, and it kind of just shakes everything up, It could be an accident, a car crash. The Chiron return is for all of us when you are around 49, 50. And Chiron can be quite massive, I want to say. So you see, I'm just suggesting. It's just my theory, my thing, right? So I'm just suggesting that because of this, the other zodiac half, again, the duality thing, right? That one part holds maybe a more impulsive, energetic, let's go, right? And the other half holds another energy. potentially, depending on your headline, what you choose, right? If you sit in scarcity and you feel the burden of life, suffering, pain, the result of the hit, and you take it to a level where you dim your light and you become what I call here the gatherer. The gatherer, well, this is an energy that usually connects with the hunter-gatherer existence here on Earth, right? That at some point people were hunter-gatherers. The gatherers, they are looking for seeds and roots and stuff that they can eat. She is not a hunter, so it means that she lives differently than a hunter. A hunter can get meat, so it's a different kind of food. The gatherer here is looking for nuts and seeds and roots. She knows that, again, because of the scarcity mindset here, looking over the shoulder, right? Frightened, and you can say in the upper hemisphere where we have winter, there is a lack of available food. You need to gather. You need to get yourself like a extra, right? So that you can get through winter. This is someone who saves, like they save money, they save, as again, food storage, right? And that's what I feel like could happen if you get into this mindset, right? That could be the scarcity mindset, that we talk, lack mentality, right? That because of that hit, I have created a headline in my head that I'm not safe. So I have to do everything I can to be safe here. I have to gather. I have to hold on to my things. I have to hide them so that others can find them, right? I have to disguise myself. I have to live, like low, under the surface. I have to be one with nature, right? I have to be silent when I move. I have to learn certain skills here to be invisible so that I can't be hit. I can't take another hit. If I take another hit, then I'll die, right? Or my children die, or others around me that I care, my tribe, they are in a... So this is a stress situation, right? Where you survive, but you're not thriving, right? You survive, but you're not thriving here. So that is one headline. As I said, it depends on what is your headline in your mind here. Like the Sagittarius creates, you could say, the headline that overshines everything else. In the Sagittarius reading, I talked about the story of Jesus. The story of Jesus becomes even more potent because he's crucified. Such a beautiful soul, a healer, not a war creator, a peacekeeper, God's son, God's light. He walks slowly and peacefully through the land, but still a major king, a mighty king, feels threatened by him and what he's doing. So he gets arrested, he gets judged, and he's taking the judgment with like utmost peace, right? He gets crucified. He hangs on that cross, and he hangs there, and he dies, taking with him the sins of humanity, right? That story becomes even more potent because he was never at war with anyone. So he gets crucified for being nice and kind and healing. And he's God's son. So a king puts himself above God's judgment and judges Jesus and kills him. That story becomes even more potent and headline-like because it's so unfair, right? There is no like it doesn't make sense, right? Somehow. I said that if Jesus had lived his life from beginning, from birth to death, being a healer, wandering around like the earth, you could say, wandering with his disciples around the earth, creating people that trusted in him, believed in him, saw his healer abilities, his kindness, his peace, his love, his care. If he had wandered around the earth like that and he died a total natural death here on earth, the story wouldn't be, it's not that potent. Like the drama of the crucifixion makes this story even bigger. And that's probably why it has survived. Like how the tale has been like put forward around the world, right? That how the story of Jesus survived. The Bible was created and all the, like how it was given from generation to generation. It has to be that potent, like the story has to be that big. Then it overrides whatever people normally think. And it overrides your own story. You can be your own news reporter, right? You can create a story here that it runs your mind. That was like the message of the Sagittarius reading, that you are in charge also what you believe in, what becomes your headline here. And if it becomes your headline that you are frightened after this, it was a massive hit. Like I would describe it as what scientists would say, like a meteor hit on Earth that would like be like a planet killer. It was really disastrous. There was almost nothing left, right? And after a hit like that, it's what I believe is that it's like those zodiacs that come after the Virgo itself knows. They are quite aware of this, subconsciously or consciously. But they have I have a Virgo moon. I have lived with this awareness all my life, that I had to stay up. Like I had to do everything I could to stay up, because eventually it's going to crash. I had to do everything right. I had to be perfect, right? I had to like really, as long as possible, stay up, because at some point it tips. Like Virgo is so aware of this. And when it tips, it kind of just goes down, right? And this is just embedded in the Virgo energy. That is my personal belief, that there is this knowledge that eventually something could change everything, right? Eventually something comes that Virgo is very youth-oriented, like really wanting to stay young and sporty and athletic and good-looking and, you know, like attractive and all this stuff. And when, you know, like when age kind of moves the Virgo into like me, I'm 52, right? Well, it's not the same to keep up. Like it takes more effort, and it's maybe not that realistic to look 20, right? So there is something about like when the doom hits, you could say it's a massive realization for the Virgo, and usually they're not prepared. Like they're not really prepared, because it's almost like they think, how could this happen? Like I've done everything I could, right? I've been virtuous, I've been perfect, I've been, like looking out for my diet and my health and how could this happen, right? So it's like when the hit comes, they're actually not prepared. And the zodiacs that come after, I believe they're dealing with that aftermath. And you as a Capricorn, you, at least in the upper hemisphere, you live in darkness. It's the darkest period of the year. And you can choose, like to run into scarcity here in this midst of darkness, where you search for your roots and nuts here. And you have to store it, right? You have to make a storage and save. Like this is a scarcity mindset, or this idea that you have to blend in. Like I have to hide in nature. I have to be invisible, right? I have to make a storage of food and get myself a shelter so I can get through the winter time, where there is not much light. As I said, it's a skill. It's a skill to navigate in darkness here. When that happens, and I think this is where the determination of Capricorn is also created. It is this, that I have to like make myself a plan, and I have to go straight towards it and keep to it, right? There is no time for derailing. I can't deroute from this. Like to be safe, to get through the winter, to survive, I have to have the skills. I have to gather and save. This is where like, I wouldn't say hoarding, but there could be hoarding here. Like this idea that you need to like hold on to what you have. You need to hold on to what you have. Like I'm protecting what I have. I'm protective of what I have, what is mine, my family. I don't trust that we are safe. It's a living in fear, anxiety. It's a living in that I have to save my money. I have to, and I'm gathering and creating a storage so that we have enough for winter, right? So this is also where you are not just going out and buying yourself luxury things. No, I get by with less. And then because I know that winter comes, and in that winter time, things can be scarce. So I'm making myself a budget plan so I'm not overspending. Like becoming planned and organized with your life, and making yourself a goal, that the goal is to get through the winter, right? Or the goal is to get myself enough money. Capricorns can be very determined, like goal oriented, and go towards a goal, and they are kind of not thinking about what comes in here. They are shoving things aside to keep their eyes on the prize, right? Because there is no light in the darkness. In winter time here in Denmark, for instance, there's not much light. Like we have few hours of like real daylight. And in those hours you have to gather, right? You have to gather everything you can. You don't have a full day, you could say. Darkness is mostly, that's the thing that dominates, right? Where you can't see anything. You have no flashlight. You have to be quick and you have to do your things swiftly here. And so with this headline here, you live more in a scarcity mindset. You live in the idea that you have to save, you have to make a budget plan, not overspend every month. You are becoming aware of what you are saving, like the storage you have. You cling maybe to your things, and you are afraid to lose them, right? You're afraid to lose something here. The other kind of mindset that I'm talking about is now this 9 of Pentacles here, where she's sitting in a, I want to say more like a gratitude, more like a feeling of, I have these things around me and I'm actually grateful for them. I may have a shelter, right? And I do have like, I do have money in the bank, perhaps. Maybe not much, but I do have something, or I have a chair, right? I have a bed. Even after this massive hit, maybe you have you could say, the hit could be anything. Maybe you lose your job, but you still have your health, right? Or, as I said, maybe I'm not young anymore, but I'm still here, right? I still have things to offer. I'm still able to do something. I still have qualities, right? So you see that even if the hit comes, that I still have abilities. I still can do something. Maybe not the same pace, maybe not with the same, but this is where you're choosing a different headline. You choose a headline that says, okay, yeah, we experienced this hit. This was terrible. Libra and Scorpio has done the first aid, you know, like they have really done something to get things you kind of together again, right? Where Libra is the yin. This is the first immediate need for yin relief, literally laying there passively, receiving treatment. Scorpio becomes a bit more, you could say, protective, like creating the container. I call it the yang womb. Like creating the container, fighting things off, right? Becoming the warrior and fighting things off that potentially could, you know, like influence the wound here. It's like fighting off bacteria and viruses, right? Keeping it out here of my crater, my wound crater, right? I'm the protective shell here that kind of shoves everything aside. And Sagittarius now comes in with the story, right? Oh my God, this happened, right? And how do you deal with that? So like if you have had a hit like that, and you know maybe you know that you are carrying a wound here. But she seems a little more like, I'm still alive, right? I'm grateful that I'm still alive. I'm still here. It could be anything, like a near-death experience, a car accident, a massive heartbreak. It could be, again, as I said, maybe you lost your home. You had to move somewhere else, but she still sits here. Oh, I'm so grateful that that this flat actually was available, that I could move in there. I'm grateful for my chair. I'm grateful for my bed, even though it's not much. And I'm grateful that I'm in one piece still, that I'm alive, right? I'm grateful that that my children are, or this is a totally different mindset. Do you see the difference of this? Like, and maybe that's why Capricorn is here, right? Or I had this feeling of I had no message. Because the message onwardly depends on the headline you choose. The headline for your life moving forward and through winter time can be a cold one, a harsh one, a difficult one to survive in here, right? Unless you have enough, unless you have gathered enough, saved enough, made a good plan, and so on. You've made a plan to like, and not derail from that plan. Like you're following that plan because it's supposed to keep you safe, right? It's supposed to make you survive. Here she sits still. She also had the hit. She also experienced it, but her way to go about things is different. Her way to like live her life is different. She makes the best of what she has here. She's grateful every day for the meal she has. You know, like doing like a prayer before dinner. And again, it depends on what you choose, right? She is not losing her faith. Where here we could have one who loses their faith in God, or that they are protected. They live in scarcity here. This is someone who chooses maybe to pray to God, ask for help, ask for, like guidance. What am I supposed to do now with my finances, for instance, right? How can I maybe get myself into a better, more safe place, or have more opportunities? She holds a light here instead of sinking into despair and worry, right? She tries to keep her heart lighter, you could say. And she's grateful for what she has here. That is the main difference between those two cards, the Nine of Fire here and the Nine of Earth, for me. That they are two different energies here that you can choose from. Again, from, like which newspaper are you buying from, Sagittarius, right? Which newspaper are you buying? You're ruled by Saturn. We know Saturn gives great lessons, but he also gives great reward if you get through it. So the clarifier for the Nine of Earth here, as I said, is like she could be what I call the happy single card, right? It's endurance. It's believing that something good could happen. It's trusting in the divine, trusting in we have manifestation here, which usually I see this card a bit of like a being on drugs, actually having some kind of hallucinatory kind of dream here. But today it comes across a little bit like holding an energy that allows you to dream. Like holding an energy of great gratitude and still allowing yourself to dream of like fantastic times here. In the book it says manifestation, sowing the seeds of your dreams, creating your reality, trusting what you desire is already happening, magic making, pollinating your wishes, and having the awareness as above, so below. You can decide how you want to live. The universe is in full support of you choosing to step into the optimal version of yourself. Dream big. then dream bigger. Now is a great time to start the projects you have been considering. All it takes is some pollinating. In the realm of making magic happen, we say as above, so below. So start planting your dream seeds in your mind, right? And nourish the soil with enthusiasm for what can and will be. Feel your dream in its entirety as if it is already happening, and then let go of it. Let all senses of control or direction go. Do not try to manage it. Feel how beautiful your dream's fruition will be, but then leave it alone to flourish as it will. Any sense of desperation or neediness will only falter its progress. Although the lessons gained as a result of this will bring growth depending on what you are ready for. Germinate your dream seeds in the present tense with positive terminology rather than thinking in terms of what you don't want. Focus on what you do want as if you already have it, as the subconscious will hear the keywords and bring you more of it. And this idea of the subconscious is important, right? Because when a massive hit comes in, as I described from the Virgo, your instant reaction could be like a life-threatening, right, response. So this is the fear response, the amygdala. Your reptile brain gets hyperactive in the sense that your life is threatened. When that happens, you are having a conscious awareness of this threat, but your brain is reacting. In some cases creating post-traumatic stress. So even after this is done, even after everything settles down, you have made the container, you have created, the first aid is done. You have received some kind of treatment. You have actually now the ability, the threat is no longer there. You have kind of the ability to actually dim your fear down, but you can keep it alive in your brain. The worry, the what if it comes back, what if it comes again? And these what ifs, they can keep you guessing, right? They can keep you crouching down and always being aware and needing to look over your shoulder. You could have insomnia, right? Fears of falling asleep because you don't know what happens when you fall asleep, right? When you sleep, you are vulnerable, right? But this is a different headline. This is a headline that says, yes, okay, I got a hit. But I know this is someone who has an awareness that if I fall into despair, if I choose this route here, it cannot lead me to anything abundant. Then I'm lost in despair and scarcity and lack. There is no other way. If I have that headline, that life is dangerous, that natural disasters are real, right? We are not safe here. We must save everything we can. We don't really have control. This is the feeling of losing control, but also losing faith in yourself, losing faith in those around you, losing faith in God, perhaps, losing faith in general, losing faith in the ability to have a good life. The card that was almost destroyed in that Virgo reading, not this round, but last round of readings, it was the Ace of Gabriel. And the card says something like, positive emotional feelings, fulfilling romantic relationship, deep and meaningful insights and intuition. That card was almost destroyed. I had to like really dry it, clean it, tape it together like with a bandage, like you try to put a broken heart together again and put a bandage over it, right? But it's not quite the same heart before and after, right? It's not quite the same. And this is what I feel like here there is this awareness that, yeah, before the hit, my access to having positive feelings, being relaxed, peaceful, trusting, believing in romantic, fulfilling relationships, unconditional love, believing in my intuition and my insights, they were maybe more present, maybe more like, there were no, you could say, limitations to them. But now, because I've had this hit, I could fall into despair, and then I'm not trusting in them. I'm not trusting in positive emotions. Like here, you look over your shoulder, like the positive emotions are gone. Here you are serious, right? Life is serious now. Life my life is constantly on the line. Where this one doesn't think like that, right? They choose a different path. They choose to believe that it's possible. If I keep my faith up, it's possible that I could have another chair. Or it's possible that miracles still are alive or still happen. It's possible that, as I said, even though I'm not 20 anymore, or even though I had an illness, I can still have a fulfilling, good, fantastic life here. I can still evolve or grow. I can still be happy. I can still have a magical life here, right? Or colorful, magical life. I decide if I need to become invisible here and hide, and I can only have access to earth colors here, or if I can play with the full palette here of colors. I decide that I'm the creator of that. I decide that I can do that. As above, so below. So if I think this, if I keep this alive, if I keep my fantasy or my dream alive, I've thought this, and you sit in it in entirety and you meditate on it and just feel these very fulfilling, beautiful feelings of like relaxation, of safety, of feeling held and protected, like there is no danger. That's one of the things that I feel happened with the Virgo. It's like before that hit on the Virgo, there was no such thing as danger. There was no such thing as conditional love. I believe that this hit that I'm describing is something that happened to Earth millions of years ago. And before it happened, the vibration on Earth was different. It was higher. There was no such thing as danger. There was no such thing as I said, conditional love. There was no such thing as scarcity. There was no such thing as darkness or suffering or pain or something. It wasn't there. Life was literally like the first zodiacs. It was, you could do what you want. It was easy. you can sit and daydream. Things were right in front of you. We know the first zodiacs, they Aries season is, around April. And in the upper hemisphere, daylight is there, grass is there, plants start growing. We have springtime. And then you get up to summer, summer starts. And then Leo is, you could say, the warmest period, where the summer is the fullest, you could say. And then Virgo comes. And Virgo is also the season, at least in the upper hemisphere, where we know things can shift. Now we can get into rain. Maybe temperature is getting a little bit colder, or in the morning a little bit colder. And during the Virgo season, you can actually go from having still very warm warm weather, but at the end of Virgo season, it could be colder, definitely colder. And we go into autumn, right? We go into a season of it's colder, it's more windy, and Virgo season is also known as the harvest season, because harvest is where you have to get the corn, the things from the field in before it becomes too wet and cold and everything starts rotting and deteriorating and stuff like that. So there's this awareness that we have a bright time of year, and then we have this other time where again we have to gather, right? We have to get harvest in house, right? So that it's not destroyed. And there is an awareness about this. Virgo in particular have an awareness about this. And I think it's because we have inherited it. We have inherited the knowledge of something. It's in the back of our mind, our brain. It lays there subconsciously. And that's actually what it also says here, right? Rather than thinking in terms of what you don't want, focus on what you want as if you already have it, as the subconscious will hear the key words and bring you more of it. But let's say that our subconscious mind is filled up with aftermath, inherited through the bloodline of our ancestors. There's a reason why scarcity mindset and lack mentality is so present. I'm just wondering, is it because we are actually we have inherited memories? I believe also that every film, every fairy tale, every story, every crime novel, every film and series on Netflix is not just because some people are extremely creative and they get like these impulsive ideas. I believe it's a memory. Some just have access to that memory, right? We remember this. Earth has gone through it. It has already been here. We have gone through it. It's in our blood. It's in our awareness somehow. Subconsciously, it may lay there and it comes to us in dreams. And then this author wakes up. Oh, I'm going to write about vampires, or I'm going to write a new children's fairy tale about the princess and it depends on which side of the story that you tap into. That's why we have the hero and the beauty and everything, the rainbows, the magic, the sunlight and the stardust. And then we have the villain, the darkness, the vampires, the blood-sucking monsters, right? We have these, I think it's because though the creators are tapping into timelines of Earth where there's a memory. There's a time before the hit, and then there's the time after. This is again where I feel like that hit created duality on Earth. Like it came in like a massive hit. Earth was totally unprepared. There is a series on Netflix called The Universe. And of course, well, you can take it or you can leave it. Do you want to make it your headline? You can think about that. But in that series, there is an episode where scientists believe, again, we weren't there. Only our ancestors or other beings from that time were there, right? Possibly creatures living at that time of actually being on Earth. But the point is that in that episode, it talks about that Earth had a twin planet. From the Big Bang, different planets were created. Earth was one of them. In the same orbit around the sun was another planet, a twin planet, almost equally sized as Earth. They were almost equally big. The gravitational pull eventually drew them together because they were orbiting, right? They were orbiting around the sun. Eventually, the gravitational pull got them together and they had a hit. So two almost equally big planets hits each other and actually merges more or less with each other. Of course, it created a big blast, and all kinds of particles were thrown all over the place. And again, if you look at the front picture of last round of readings, I had this black ball that explodes into these different pieces here. Whatever that is, a heartbreak, a heart fragmentation, a soul fragmentation, earth blasts into you, whatever. You decide what that is, right? But the point is that they melted together, created a big blast. They had to form still, like rotate and create the earth we have today. It is said that the moon that we can see is a fragment of that planet. They call it, I believe they call it Freya, that twin planet. That the Freya planet hit Earth. They were gravitationally pulled together and they hit each other, merged with each other. And in that process, our moon was created as a fragment of that earlier planet. If that is a real story, and if that is what I tap into when I talk about the Virgo hit, again, it is something that we are not prepared of. Earth was not prepared, Freya probably also not. The gravitational pull just pulls them together. Like we can feel it if we are attracted to a person, right? Or we are attracted to a job or something. We are gravitationally being drawn towards something. And we know sometimes it's disastrous, right? You meet up with someone and it's maybe hot and intense, but it's disastrous. Like you can't live with that person, not in the long term. I don't know that, like, I just know that if you look up the density of the moon, the density of moon is less than Earth. So Earth is more dense, Moon not. So when these planets like come together, there must be places on Earth that hold more density than others, if we can believe those facts. Maybe that's why we have certain areas on Earth, for instance, Mount Shasta, that is said to hold high vibrational energy. And other places on Earth is much more dense and hold very low frequency energy. And maybe that's why we still have slavery, we still have oppression, we still have like dominant regimes and things like that. I don't know. You just think about it, right? The point is that at the bottom of your readings, I now have the 10 of Ariel here. The 10 of Ariel talks about there's so much to be grateful for: financial success and the promise of retirement, a rich and rewarding family life here. This would be like the 10 of Cups energy. Like you have it all, right? Everything is here. Everything is what I want. I am sustained. I'm taken care of. But the way you're doing, like the way you want to achieve your goal is very different if you are in this mindset or if you are in, let me see if I can get the cards up. If you are in this mindset, both of you have the focus on the 10 of Cups. Like you want to have the most fulfilling life you can have, but you're doing it in two different ways here. It will be tougher here. This is third dimensional energy. This is what we all know, what we have learned, what we probably most of us actually trust in this. Like we trust that if we just put in hard work, we take care of business, right? We keep the goal. We make a plan, we stick to it, and then we have enough. Then we are safe. Then we can have a sustainable family life. Maybe not as it says here. There's so much to be. They're always very positive, right? There's so much to be grateful for: financial success and the promise of retirement, a rich and rewarding family life. With these cards, we may say something like, we have what we need. We will sustain ourselves and gather enough so that we can bring the children to college, maybe, or we can have somewhat of a retirement plan, and we can have a good family life here. If we make a plan and we stick to it, and we make sure that the things about looking over your shoulder, this is where you make a plan. You make a plan not to have the worries. So let's say you make insurance, right? You draw up insurance plans, because if something comes in, you have the insurance, right? To help you. You get yourself, you get a network. You establish a friend group that can help you. You know, you take measurement, and you take steps towards guarding what you have. In that way, you can have somewhat of a 10 of Pentacles here, or a 10 of Cups here. Like you, you know, but there's another way of actually living your life that could be more colorful if you allow it to be, right? If you allow it to be, you could have perhaps a more successful life, or it feels like that, even though you don't have, you know, like millions in the bank, and you don't have like luxury yacht or something like that. The idea that you hold a faith and a grace in you allows you to feel life differently. So when you walk in the forest, you're not constantly looking over your shoulders if something is coming after you. If there's a wolf there or something, right? No, you walk through the forest and you look at the trees, right? You look at the sunshine through the trees. Maybe you have a picnic basket with you, with homemade sandwiches. It doesn't have to be luxurious, right? And you choose to sit there for a while, listening to the birds and the whatever is around you, and you actually are grateful for this abundant place, right? That this is an abundant place. There is life here. There's a wildlife here, and you can sit here and just enjoy the peace and the birds and the sunshine with your a little juice or a sandwich, right? And you bring your children. You have a day in the forest, right? Instead of, no, potentially it's dangerous in the forest, we stay at home, right? We lock the door and we stay at home. This, again, as I said, they are grateful for what they have. They are dreaming a dream of safety. They are dreaming a dream of maybe more money, a bigger house, or again, more color. Like again, even though they have a little tiny flat, maybe they put in a lot of colorful things, or they paint, like a ocean view on one of their walls, and they are every night before they go to bed, they are imagining that they are just standing there and just enjoying this fresh breeze of Mediterranean soft, warm breeze, right? And so they're keeping, doors open. Like they're keeping the doors open of like colorful, beautiful, bigger things. Where over here we have someone who probably keeps the door a bit more closed. As I said, they retract more, where this energy is trying to expand more, right? Even though they don't have much, even though they don't know how to get it, they are still keeping the door open for magic to come in. Where here we could have like closed doors, we stay in. We don't go out at night, we could get robbed, it's more neurotic, it's more, it closes around itself, it's not opening doors. And therefore nothing is coming either, right? That in this, you have to work and work and work to get what you want, right? You could get a good family life here, and I think people have that. But they work like crazy, right? And that's what you're known for, Capricorn. Like you are the workhorse, right? You have a plan, you stick to it, right? You're not letting anything derail you. You keep to the plan, and you stick to it because for you it's serious, right? There's something on stake here. Like if you are not keeping to your plan, you will not get through the winter. It's memory, right? It sticks with us. It's from that time where you didn't have houses like today, right? You didn't have, like all the things we have created today in the Western world is based out of this. The reason why we have houses, the reason why we have heating in the houses, the reason why we have industrialized stuff and we have supermarkets, it's because we want to sustain ourselves all days. We have electricity to have light even though it's darkness outside, right? We have been creative enough to override the original feeling of winter, but still there. And when we lose the heating in the winter, when the electricity is out, when an volcano comes along, or a hurricane comes along, right? Whoop, this comes up right away. Oh, we have no electricity. What about internet? What about TV? And what about all this stuff that we want to do also in wintertime? The heating is out, but then we're freezing, right? Then it's right there. It's right there. That's what I feel like. I don't think it's just like a creative idea. Let's build a house. No. It started with caves, right? Then it started with like primitive houses. But then we were still cold, right? We needed to get like fur and stuff to protect us. And then we are just evolving, like we evolve and build something that is now sustaining us in a different way. The houses are maybe better. We have heating in. Of course, we thought about that. We have water in. We have toilets. We have thought about everything, right? So that it's comfy somehow. And that's what I feel like. Definitely think about comfy. Keep that as one of your dreams. But the point is that we have to make sure we have a door open so that it can actually come in. If we close the door around ourselves and you keep that headline that life is dangerous, right? I can't trust anyone. Then nothing comes in. It can't. You have closed the door. If you allow yourself to have another headline, that life can still be colorful and good, even though it is dark outside, even though, and you can be grateful for, your slippers in the winter time, right? You can be grateful for the heating you have in your house. You can be grateful for the chair, the bed you have. I know it sounds a bit, but actually it's overriding it's overriding this, right? It's overriding because this one is not really very grateful for what they have. They are concerned that they will not have enough. They are concerned about next season. They're concerned about the future. So even if they actually do have something here, they don't think they have. They know it's temporary. They know it's not lasting. So they are concerned about the lack that comes when you're out of stock. They are concerned about that lack that comes. But here you have someone who sits more in the moment, the here and now, and they look around. But I have a chair, I have a table, I have a lamp, I have a house with heating, I have books, I have food in my refrigerator. I'm good. Life is good. They don't think about the future like that. They live more in the moment and they're grateful for what they have. This is where I would suggest, if you look for the book that is called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. He talks about this, that you can be so occupied, your headline here can be so occupied about thinking either about the past, so being trapped in the past, in the wound, or you always think about the future. You're always worried about what happens next, and I have to be prepared and control it and always be, proactive. I'm always, I'm going to know what's going to happen. But it means that you can never live in the now then. You can never be present in the here and now, the right now. The right now. So if you take a look around you, is it that bad right now? For some of you, it probably is. For some of you, probably not. So there is something about the headline here. Do you allow a headline that is like the doom is near, Nostradamus, the end of the world? You know, like what kind of a headline, what kind of story do you have here? Are you the sinner? Are you in danger? Is that the story? I'm in danger. Life is dangerous. The world is dangerous. If that is your headline, you will look over your shoulder always. But what if you start thinking, yeah, okay, something terrible happened, and I have been living in fear for a very long time. But right now, when I look around here, I'm not in danger. I can take my shoulders down. It happened then. Right? It happened then. It's not right here with me now. I may still feel the wounding, I may still feel, but that is not here. Not now. And maybe it is for some of you literally here, but you get my point. It happened then. It's not necessarily here now. So why can't I enjoy this moment? I feel like she is much better at this. Like she can sit in the moment and create in her mind perhaps, or this is an earth element. Maybe she is a painter here. Maybe she decides to become the painter of her own life. Maybe she decides to try to, now she's, like she's painting pictures of her life. And this is how she sees herself, right? She sees herself like this, like there's so much beauty here. I look great, right? And there's so much beauty and magic here, and colors and stars and everything. That everything is available, the butterflies there. Up here, right? And she looks amazing here, right? So this, and when you do that, you're opening your door, right? You're keeping the magic possible, instead of just shutting it down and says, no, miracles don't happen. I don't trust in God. I don't trust in miracles. I trust in what I see in front of me. I trust in my plan. And either of them both of them can have the 10 of Ariel here. I just want to say, in one's mindset, it's maybe not even a 10. Like it will be a conditional 10. It's very conditional how you get to that 10 of cups. You may get married. You may have a job. You may have a house. You may have children. And you may think that this is like a good life. But you could have much more. Like you could have much, much more. The gatherer here says that before we cultivated grains, we collected the wild bounty of nature. The gatherer finds abundant seeds, nuts, berries, and wild greens, where the ordinary person sees only barren soil. The gatherer is the provider, the forager, and the gardener who collects roots and vegetables for the long winter when game is scarce. She does not hoard, trust the bounty around her. So this is where you can see you can go either way with this one. Like, the essence of the card tells you that you can go either way. So which one were you choosing? What headline is here, right? And this is where we have now an invitation and a medicine, and both of them tell different stories. The invitation would say, look at the resources you already have at hand. This is a time of abundance. Everything around you is ripe and ready to harvest. Banish the notion of scarcity that have limited your choices and color your destiny. Pack your food for the winter and start with the low-hanging fruit that is all around you. That is one way of being a gatherer, right? The other one comes here. Do not wander too far afield in search for what Spirit has already provided. Practice paying it forward, being thankful in advance for receiving. If you are in a scarcity mindset, open your heart to look beyond current conditions, and you will find the bounty being offered to you. Practice sharing, not hoarding. But you see, if you are in a scarcity mindset, you're not thinking like that. So even though you have practiced being a gatherer in a scarcity mindset, you can still be a gatherer, but in an abundant mindset. It's here. So the practice you have done is not, like totally off. You just have to shift your headline. Like you can shift your headline and still be a gatherer here. But now you're gathering more like this, right? You're trying to be open-minded to what you're gathering here. And be trusting and being more in the moment. The low-hanging fruit is right there, as the book said, right? You can just take it. And you can actually also maybe expect that things are offered to you. But if you never expect that things could be offered to you, it's definitely not being offered. As above, so below. If you think nobody comes and saves me, nobody is here for me, I'm alone, I have to make the best of life on my own because nobody comes. I can't really trust. As I said, maybe you were married, right? Maybe you got married. Maybe you also ended up getting divorced. Then you were alone again. Then you had to make what you could of your money. Then you had to maybe move yourself and your kids. Then you had to, like get a second job because you don't expect that good things can come in. Where over here, they are expecting it. They may not know when, but they are expecting it to be here. That it's already here. I can be grateful already because good things are already here. So it's a different mindset. I'm not saying that now money is pouring in, but it could be that it starts with something else. It could be that it starts with you, like sitting like this, then suddenly like you feel like your shoulders come down. Maybe it manifests more like a peace. And maybe this idea that you actually open your eyes and you look what's around you and wow, when the sun kind of shines through the leaves in the forest, how amazing that is. Like that is, and I know people would say, yeah, but we can't live off that, right? It doesn't pay the bills. No, but it gives you a moment of like beauty, doesn't it? So it allows you to have a moment of beauty. And that is also abundance. Because otherwise you live in a very serious lack mentality that never allows for beauty. This is free. Like, it's free, right? You just have to see it. Like, you have to open your eyes and actually look at it. This is also where you can experience the funny side of life, right? Where things are not that serious. You can look at puppies that play with each other and kind of just, like, maybe just shake your head and what are they doing, right? Like, you can relax a little bit more. When life is very serious and very planned and very like goal-oriented, there is no room for play. There's also no room for grace. Peace. You know? And I believe that peace, grace, beauty, for me it is abundance. It is a part of abundance. Maybe not the full picture, right? The full 10 of Cups, but it's part of it. And it will manifest itself in different ways for you. Right? Like, it manifests in different ways. Depending on what you have, like, experienced, of course. Like the hit that came, maybe... like maybe you really want the money to come in first, right? But it may not be so. Maybe it's colors that come in first. Maybe dreams. Maybe you start having, you know, like just this tiny feeling that what if I could open my door? That's a seed, right? What if I could open my door again? What if I could trust again? And that's just a tiny seed that allows your mind to change its ways. You know, like, what if there is magic out there? You know, like, it's just this wondering, because what it does is that it's meddling with your headline. The headline you had that, no, this can never happen, only hard work can solve the problem, only hard work can get me out of this, only determination and seriousness and everything can get me out of this. I believe that this is a plan that has worked out for many generations, but they lived in a scarcity and lack mentality. But that's not how, that was how work was. Life was like that. Work was like that. We don't know anything else. So this is like planting the seeds to know new. That's what I feel like. So I want a card for those of you that may, you know, like really are stuck in the like poverty consciousness, scarcity or lack mentality. If you are really stuck in that, or you know, like, you plan your life, you have a budget plan, you have a food plan for every week to save money and to make sure that there's enough, and you know, like, this idea that you don't have enough, you're not safe, the world is dangerous, that if you live very much in that and you have a hard time putting in a new seed of something, can we have an advice, please, on that? An advice for those who may feel like this is just magical thinking. Like this doesn't work, right? Can we have an advice or something? Interesting. So I have the temptation card here. This is such an interesting card because the word, if I take this away, I actually have a bit more of a different message. But it's almost like I get temptation here. And well, temptation can come across as sometimes a bad word, right? You get tempted, lured into something. But actually, I feel like maybe you should tempt yourself, like tempt yourself with the idea of something new. Tempt yourself with the idea of what if. Allow yourself to be tempted by the idea of like having a fortune, right? She lays here and she's dreaming. Again, dream big, a big apple here. Dream big, right? Dream of a big, juicy, fruity, abundant apple. Dream, it's like tempting your brain, tempt your awareness with or seduce your awareness with a what if. Like, what if the world actually is not that bad? Because you know what happens. You can stay where you are, or you can make a change. If you stay where you are, you stick to your plan, you stick to your goal, you know you have your like hamster wheel life, 9-to-5 job. You know you have your maybe average life. You know you have your average marriage, your average children, or whatever. But this idea that it's this hamster wheel that just keeps kind of moving, but it also requires you to be able to participate in the hamster wheel. There is no way out. There is no second plan. There is no passive income. There's nothing else there to keep the things going, right? So you have to be able to perform. Like every day the same, dun 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 dun. Every day the same. What if you tempt yourself with the idea that there could be a different life, right? What if you tempt yourself with the idea of what if I could create some passive income? Would that relieve? Would that bring my shoulders down, right? What if I could? Like, what if I tap into a childhood like hobby that actually was very colorful for me, that gives me joy, right? Can joy somehow be the feeling of abundance? Can it be the counterpart of seriousness in my work? Can I then have joy? And does that somehow bring some kind of relief or bring a little more color to my life? Maybe, sometimes it's these weird paths that, let's say you actually like painting and you sit at home and you paint at night, or you paint when you can. And eventually you have enough pictures, you can make an exhibition. And you make a small exhibition in a small place, and certain people are coming to see it. Maybe not many, but certain people are coming and see it, and one of them makes you an offer. One of them wants to buy your work, or they want to like give you a job or something. Sometimes these small paths lead us somewhere that we never thought. And that's what I feel like. It's the gatherer is not a bad energy. As I read in the book, right? The gatherer can change the awareness just a little bit and actually get more out of it. And look at this, like she is dreaming herself into the big apple and the box here full of money. Like, can you dream yourself into wealth? Law of vibration, law of attraction would say yes, you can. Without doing anything, right? I don't know, maybe a few steps, but definitely you could lay here and rest more. I feel like, again, the temptation is dream, like let yourself be tempted with your biggest colorful dreams here. Tempt yourself, right? Tempt yourself to think differently, out of the box, and think big, and think that it's available already here. While she lays here and sleeps here, that it's already there. That when she wakes up, it's already there, right? That would be what it says. But the book also says that when you put out a wish like that, you also have to let it be. Like you somehow have to let it simmer, you could say. Let it figure out how to create itself somehow, right? Because you may not know how you get that money, or you may not know how you get that promotion or that job or that colorful life, the 10 of Cups. You may not know how you get it. And that's why you put out the wish, like the biggest dream you could have. That you sit in that dream, you feel it, you taste it, you smell it, and then you allow the universe to bring it to you. And if you come from a place of scarcity and mindset and saving everything, it may take a while, right? Because you literally have to open a lot of doors before that can actually come in. You have to also let go. You can't stay in your like scarcity mindset like this. You can't stay like that and then expect a lot of stuff to come in. It comes in when you start to lessen the load. When you start to lessen the load, certain doors start to open. That's also why I say that maybe it's not the money that comes in first. Maybe the feeling of calm or peace comes because it lessens the load and you're not looking over your shoulder all the time. Maybe it's colors that come in, or a colorful friend, you know. Maybe it's a pet that allows you to laugh because they lick your face, you know, like, or something. Maybe, you know, maybe it's something like that comes in first, and it allows you to breathe in a different way or relax in a different way. Be grateful, also be grateful for what you have. So for, you know, like a bed is not just a bed. It's just not a furniture that you sleep in. No, a bed is a place where magic can be created. A bed is where my rejuvenation is. So I can be grateful for the bed, that it holds me at night, right? You know, do you see the difference? Like, magic is created in my bed. I'm warm and comfortable in my bed, right? You know, something like that, instead of just, but that's just my bed. Yeah, it's a bed, but I don't think it's just a bed. It's also not just your couch. No, the couch, what is a living room without a couch? It's a comfy place, right? You can crawl down in your couch with your slippers on and a blanket. So it's a cozy place, right? And that is a place of maybe also rejuvenation and comfort, right? It's a comfort place. So the couch is not just a couch, it's a comfort place. You know? Something like that. You can decide, I want to buy blankets in all kinds of colors. My lamps are going to be red and green and yellow instead of just white or black. You know? You can bring in colors in many ways. Flowers. You know? It's depending on what makes sense to you. Maybe you decide to buy a pink shirt instead of just the white or blue ones you normally wear to work, right? Just because it's fun. And because you can. You can actually, right? Or you decide if you can't do that, that work really requires you to wear a business suit, then you wear it when you get home. You know, just because I want more color, right? It's just that the here and now moment is the best place to dream, especially if it is somewhat calm. That you don't have lions standing roaring in your face. That if it is somewhat calm, you can actually dream in that space because you are not in the past, you're not in the future yet. You're right here, right now. Okay? So again, from the Sagittarius, what headline do you trust? What truth do you trust? Which one? But because you see here, just on my table, I have two. There could be more. Which one overrides everything? Which one do you decide should override everything? I feel like the reason why I didn't have like incoming message is because decide which one. When you have decided which one you take, then it's coming, right? Then you will face the things that come. But you have to choose. It could be that you're standing in between them. That you are aware of your scarcity mindset. And you know that it has been driven like ancestors many generations back, right? That's how we have survived. That's how we got by. That's how we lived. That's the kind of life we had. And you want to step into the other one. You are aware of the other one. But you feel you are in limbo, right? That you can't leave this one and you can't access this one. That you stand in some kind of limbo. You know? Or are you actually practicing both? Like, are you consciously practicing the here and now moment? I sit in gratitude. But your subconscious mind is still ruled by the fear factor. You know, like, it could be something else also. Like I remember way back, there was a time where when I had this vertigo attack, and I somehow at some point I heard some kind of podcast about again some of the very first more spiritual you could say messages that I listened to. And she talked very much about this idea of finding your passion. You have to find your passion. Your life mission depends on your passion. And I was totally blank. I didn't know what my passion was. I have been you could say, looking for that passion for a long time. And it has been in my awareness for a long time that I somehow didn't feel that I had it. Like I was kind of passionless. And it made me sad, right? It made me sad, but how can I know what to do or what my life mission is if I don't have that passion? So now the passion became an issue, right? It became a problem if I didn't have it. And I believe that if people for generations have been living out of fear and scarcity mindset, I'm not sure we all know what that passion is, because we have done what we were told, right? We were programmed. You go to school, you choose an education, you get that job, and then you're happy. Right? Then you have the 10 of Cups here. That's the way to move, right? We were programmed to have certain beliefs, certain religious beliefs, certain behaviors, that it should all lead to the happy ever after. That if you behave like this, then you can get the job, then you can keep the job. If you are determined enough, if you are result oriented, if you're goal oriented, if you are sales oriented, if you just go by the book, if you follow the plan, then you will have your happy ever after, 10 of Cups here, and you just have to follow the plan. But by following the plan, your imagination never gets actually activated. It never gets to grow. It never gets to evolve. If you follow a plan and you trust that, you're not trusting in your own imagination. You're not trusting in your own maybe feelings. You're actually maybe even overriding them. You trust the plan more than you trust yourself. So I think if that's the case, people do not have that access to that passion. Some do, and some really don't. They just, like they're sheep, they just follow the herd, My mom did that, my brother, my sister. So I just follow the herd here. Because it seems like when I follow the herd, I have somewhat of a plan here for my life. But I realized that yes, I had followed the herd, as my parents had and their parents had. So I've never had a real discussion about like life passion in my family. I was told something like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like an occupation, a job. Not what's your life passion? What do you burn for? What is your, what gets you out of bed every morning? No, I should just follow the plan and figure out what kind of job I should choose, or where I somehow had, qualifications. And then you just do that, and then you have your 10 of Cups, right? Then everything will work out smoothly. There was no talk about passion, right? There was no talk about what really gets me out of my chair, what really gets me out of bed every morning. And if you don't have a passion, you can't make a choice but follow the herd. If the passion is not there, you can't really, because if there's no passion, you don't know what it is. You don't know where to go. Sometimes you just have to try stuff, and you will feel if it is a passion, right? You will feel if it feels right, or if no, this is not, or Well, it was fun for the first 5 times, but now, no, it's actually kind of boring, or I can't see myself keep doing this, you know. Sometimes you have to just try do something. Just make a step, take a step and see what happens. Maybe that's also why this card is here. Tempt yourself to just try something, right? Because it's otherwise you stay where you are. If you're not tempting yourself to do something else or try something else, you will stay where you are. And if you, like if you have been a follower, you followed the herd. You were the sheep that followed the herd, the plan. You trusted in the plan. You forgot about your imagination. You forgot about your own ideas. You forgot about your own magic. You forgot about your own... it's still in there. But you may need, like to tempt yourself to do something else. Or to go back and look at your like childhood hobbies or something. Because it's... Again, otherwise you stay where you are. At least if you stay where you are, you're still following the herd, the plan, the work. You can still put in the seed of trying to think what if, or if I implement a little more color in my life somehow, or I take just from time to time, I take a moment in my day where I stay in the present moment. And I think about what I'm grateful for and how it actually helps me. Like having a bed, how does it help me to have a bed as opposed to not having one? How does it help me to have a car? Yeah, I can get from A to B, but actually when you sit in that car and it's icy weather out there and you can put on the heater, and you can drive to work in rainy weather or something. That is where you really appreciate your car, right? That you really see the value of it. I can sit here in this little bubble here, and I can drive to my work. And I can actually have, like, my heating is on, so I'm not freezing, right? Even though it's frosty weather out there, snow is everywhere, you can become more grateful for the qualities of the things that you have. If you just take just a little time, just a little time, every day, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Maybe you start with 2 minutes and you see yourself wanting to go there more and more often because it's a nice place. Like when you sit there and you sit with this idea of, I'm not just going to have food tonight at dinner. No, I'm going to have a steak. Or I'm going to have this beautiful vegetarian stew that I just love, right? So you're not just thinking about eating something, surviving and eating. No, you're thinking about that you have a choice of what you can eat. You have a preference. And how abundant that is, how privileged you are that you can do that, right? That this is even here, that it's available. That you can eat something you actually love. You don't have to eat roots, right? You can eat a steak, or, like just take this little moment. We could even say the idea of saying like grace before dinner is actually not necessarily a bad thing. Well, if it's done in a robotic way, yeah, maybe it doesn't really matter. But if you actually take a time to look at the food, right? And maybe you see the colors of it. You see the abundance, the amount of money, of food. The drink, the wine, the juice, what is on the table, Like that, maybe you have, several dishes there. And you can just you look at it and you just think about how beautiful this is. I have several dishes I can choose from. You can appreciate the smell of it, right? You can appreciate the taste of it. You can decide which one you want. You can drink water, you can drink wine, you can drink juice, you can drink a soda, a beer. You have different choices. And I know it may sound a little bit, but because we just take it for granted, right? Even in a scarcity mindset, we take it for granted. That's what I feel like. It's just that you become a little more aware of the things that are actually here for you. And even, let's say you don't have a car and you walk in the rain, but still you can say, okay, yeah, maybe I get wet, but the earth gets rain, and the grass, and the field, and the cows, and all the insects, and all other wildlife gets this rain. The earth gets rain. Our trees get rain. So maybe it's not exactly in my favor, but I see a bigger picture of this, right? I see that it benefits something else that I value. It benefits someone else or something else that I value. I can value rain in the summer when our grass and all the plants hang because they don't have any water, right? The grass is all burned or like golden. It's very dry. If there is a day where it rains, I can appreciate that, even though I would get wet or it's inconvenient for me somehow, because I know that it's benefiting something else that I actually value as well. When everything is very dry, it only takes a little flame to actually create a fire. And when everything is so dry, everything can actually burn, right? So sometimes the rain can also make burnable stuff less burnable, and that in some cases that can be a good thing. So yeah, I feel like for this reading I'm presented with 2 new stories, and you can decide which one you want. Or you are given the choice from maybe if you have lived your life, in a scarcity mindset after the hit, like this awareness of the hit came in. So I have to close the door and shelter myself and just, only think about myself. When you do that, there is no door open for magic or fun or a new friend, a new opportunity, a new cup. It's not possible when you close down like that. And I believe that many of us following the herd, we have learned to close down and live in this awareness because it's supposedly should be more safe. But I believe that it's just a restrictive, like we have restricted ourselves into an area where there is no magic possible. There are no new opportunities. Only if you create them yourself inside your restricted area. So you have to educate yourself, you have to apply for that new job, you have to do everything yourself. And I'm still not maybe good at this, like I have a subconscious mind too that rules something. I'm just beginning to become aware of how much and I want to change it somehow. That I become more in charge, that, or at least I have a voting right to decide which kind of news headline I decide to follow, like what kind of doctrine, what belief system, what plan, or what inspiration are you following here? Is it Nostradamus? Death is here, the end is near, or is it the fairy tale dream romance? Everything is possible, what kind of headline covers your head here? And the way you think. Because the way you think determines how you speak. That's why we have the hot chili and the burning mouth there. It depends on what you speak. Just such a term as, do you see life as a challenge or an opportunity? Do you regard things as problems or gifts or opportunities? Like are things cancellations or openings? That is a big thing, I think. So by all means, you can be the persevering workhorse, Capricorn. But the gathering effect, as I said here, it's not wrong. You can just change it a little bit, and then it actually can become more opening, right? Maybe I should take that again here. Like there are opportunities here, even as a gatherer, right? The gatherer finds abundant seeds, nuts, berries, and wild greens, where the ordinary person sees only barren soil. This is again the world view, how you see the world. I would say the gatherer here sees opportunities in a barren soil where others don't. The gatherer is the provider, the forager, and the gardener who collects roots and vegetables for the long winter when game is scarce. She does not hoard. She trusts that the bounty around her is there, that the availability of something is there. Always, like infinite supply. Not conditioned, not finite, that it's always there, even in winter. It says here, do not wander too far afield in search for what Spirit has already provided. So if you do have a house, if you do have heating, if you do have shelter, if you do have food in your fridge, if you have a couch, if you have a bed, you can wander to look for it, but it's already there. It's just because your ego mind wants something more. We are fascinated with more. Always. Always comparing ourselves. Never quite enough. Practice paying it forward. Being thankful in advance for receiving. So you pay forward by being grateful in the moment, by saying thank you and having gratitude for what it is that you have. You're saying it in advance. If you are in a scarcity mindset, open your heart to look beyond current conditions. And you will find that the beauty being offered to you. Practice sharing, not hoarding, right? It's like, but as I said, maybe it doesn't come in as money in the first place. Abundance can be so much more than that. So just be open to how it manifests itself and be grateful for what's there for you. I know that may be easier said than done, but I read the cards and what the book says and what I know from my own journey, right? And think big. This card talks about thinking big, right? Beyond the current conditions. This is beyond the current conditions, right? So you just keep your mind on that. You stick to that and trust that it's coming, that it's here. It's already here. It will manifest itself in different ways for you. Over time, it manifests itself in different ways. And bounty is already there. There's infinite supply. Everything is available. You know, you can say affirmations like that for yourself. Again, to trick your mindset. Okay? This is what I have, Capricorn. I hope this helps somehow. Take care of yourself out there. Be mindful about your new story. What is your overall overriding truth? Because it has an effect on everything else. I send you my very best, Capricorn. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.